The sanctuary of Zion prayer movement outreach was alive with spiritual intensity. Evangelist Ebuka Obi had just concluded a powerful session of prophetic intercession. The crowd was still basking in the spiritual atmosphere, cheering, crying, speaking in tongues. The presence of God felt tangible. But even in that charged environment, quiet conversations were always lurking in the corners. Whispers, side glances, curious stares. Why is he still not married? For years, Evangelist Ebuka had served with extraordinary zeal. His passion for the gospel was contagious. Across Nigeria, especially among the youth and women, his name had become a symbol of revival, truth, and conviction. But fame came with scrutiny. As his influence grew, so did the gossip. Why hasn't he found a wife? Is something wrong with him? Is he really who he claims to be? How can a man of God be in his 40s and still unmarried? Some speculated. Others accused. A few went as far as questioning his calling altogether. If he's truly anointed, why hasn't God sent him a wife? Maybe he's hiding something, they said. Maybe he keeps people at arm's length so they don't discover who he really is. But through it all, Ebuka remained steady. His response never changed. God has not revealed the right person to me yet, and I'd rather wait on him than settle to satisfy public pressure. Still, the pressure was real. Women began traveling from all over Port Harcourt, Benin, Kaduna, even from outside the country, claiming they had divine dreams or visions that they were meant to be his wife. Some brought gifts. Others came with tears. A few came with manipulation. Man of God, the Lord showed me clearly. We were standing at the altar. One woman cried out during a counseling session. Ebuka responded with kindness, but unwavering discernment. If God spoke to you, he'll speak to me too. And if it's his will, it will happen in his time. For years, he avoided addressing the matter publicly, but the questions only multiplied. On social media, it got worse. People posted sarcastic memes. Comedy skits surfaced. Photos of him appeared with captions like, "Our future husband is hiding in Zion." Ebuka Obi, the most eligible bachelor or the most mysterious? Then one day, as he was preparing for the monthly Fire and Power conference, he received an invitation for a live interview on a major Christian television network. The host, a seasoned journalist known for asking the tough questions, waited until the final moments. She leaned in and asked, "Evangelist, the world admires your ministry, your integrity, your fire. But I must ask, why are you still single? Is this intentional?" Ebuka didn't flinch. He smiled, not from discomfort, but from peace. "Yes, I've chosen to wait. Not out of fear or indecision, but because I believe marriage is sacred. It's not a performance for the public. It's a divine covenant. I won't enter into it because people are uncomfortable with my journey." The host paused, then followed up. "Then, what kind of woman are you waiting for?" Without missing a beat, he replied, "A Proverbs 31 woman." The room went quiet. He continued, "I'm praying for a woman who fears God more than she fears judgment. A woman clothed with dignity, not just expensive clothes. One whose strength is wisdom, not popularity. The Bible says, charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That's the kind of wife I'm waiting for. Until then, I wait." That moment exploded online. Some applauded his wisdom and restraint. Others mocked him. Memes returned, this time reading, "Still waiting for Proverbs 31 in 2025? Good luck, sir." But beyond the noise, something different began to take shape. Young women across Nigeria started studying Proverbs 31 seriously. Many began hosting prayer meetings titled, "Becoming the Woman for My Ebuka." Though the criticism hadn't stopped, it had lost its sting. It no longer shook him. In fact, it refined him. Ebuka began preaching more openly about patience, purity, and trusting God's process. He was no longer just preaching to the crowd. He was ministering from personal experience. One Sunday, standing before a full congregation, he opened up. "Yes, I've heard the jokes. I've seen the posts. But let me say this. God does not need public approval to elevate a man. People have tried to pull me down, but God keeps lifting me. I don't need to be married to validate my calling. I don't need to meet your timeline to fulfill his plan." The sanctuary erupted with applause. Some in the crowd wiped tears from their eyes. He went on, "To anyone here who's been mocked, rejected, or called names, Listen closely. God doesn't consult your critics before he blesses you. When the time is right, he will make all things beautiful. From that moment, even his harshest critics began to take a second look. His unwavering stance became a testimony. Over time, the ridicule faded. The same social media that once mocked him began sharing clips of his Proverbs 31 interview. His words became a rallying cry at youth conferences and singles summits across Nigeria. Be a Proverbs 31 woman for your Proverbs 31 man became a movement. As for Ebuka Obi, he never slowed down. He kept doing what God called him to do: preaching, praying, healing, and serving. Whenever asked again about marriage, he would calmly respond, "It will come at the appointed time. But my purpose is not on pause because I'm single." In one message, he said, "God's calling isn't delayed by human expectations, and true obedience is better than applause." And just like that, the man many once doubted became a symbol of strength in singleness. The preacher who chose faith over pressure. The evangelist who made waiting look powerful. Because sometimes the loudest way God honors you is by making your silence echo louder than their shouting. So stay faithful, live on purpose, wait with intention, and if you're praying for a spouse, ask for character, not just charisma. Morals from the story. God's timing is perfect. Waiting isn't a delay, it's divine preparation. True purpose is never postponed by man's expectations. Obedience over pressure. Choosing God's will over people's opinions is the true mark of spiritual maturity. Marriage is a covenant, not a cure. You don't need a spouse to be complete. Wholeness comes from walking in God's purpose, not public validation. Silence can be so powerful. Sometimes, the strongest response to criticism is consistency, not confrontation. Seek character, not charisma. In love and leadership, what lasts is not charm or image, but integrity and godliness. Your identity is not your relationship status. Being single is not a flaw, it's a phase, and it can be powerful when lived with purpose. Public approval is not divine confirmation. God doesn't need the crowd's vote to bless your destiny. So now, ask yourself this. Are you living by God's timeline or the pressure of people's expectations? Don't let culture rush what God is still writing. Whether you're single, waiting, or misunderstood, your purpose is valid. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself, share it with someone who needs encouragement. Comment below. I choose purpose over pressure. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing stories that speak truth, build faith, and remind you, God doesn't need permission to bless you. Stay faithful, leave on purpose. And remember, waiting is not weakness, it's worship.